Welcome to the Histories of Northamptonshire podcast series, and this episode number 98. Recorded on location, each episode tells the story of one of the many and varied objects which are the focus of the exhibition A History of Northamptonshire in 100 Objects. The exhibition runs at the Northampton Museum and Art Gallery between the 20th of September 2025 and February 2026. Selected by local individuals, heritage groups and the museum's own curators, each object tells a different story from the county's past. And so, to our guest for this episode.
My name's Steph Sykes-Dugmore and I'm the Head of Collections and Research at the Silverstone Museum, based at Silverstone Circuit.
The object that is in the exhibition is what?
It is a Force India Formula 1 car from 2013.
And it's the proper thing?
It is. It doesn't have the engine in. They didn't let us keep that. But it is the actual car, not a show car either. And it was driven by Paul D'Aresta, the Scottish driver.
Now, this was under an era when the team was known as Force India, but it started out as being something very, very different.
Yeah, I mean, they started as Jordan in the old Jordan factory. That was Eddie Jordan, who has recently passed away, and he set up Jordan Grand Prix Racing, and then I think it became Midlands Racing, and that failed badly, and then it got taken over as Force India, and then they raced under them, I think, until about 2019, and then it became Racing Point. And now it is Aston Martin, and the old factory has gone, and this massive superstructure is in its place.
Yes, which is just across the road from the Silverstone Circuit, which itself first saw light as a farm, and then ultimately a World War II bomber base.
Yeah, Silverstone's got a really great history. It even goes back a little bit further. They had some great Benedictine monks on the site as well. And yeah, the site was continuously used, and then obviously the Second World War, major impact.
It is one of those circuits that has gone not only into modern-day history through its racing exploits, and Formula One isn't the only thing that you'll find at Silverstone. The corners have got fantastic names like Vale and Abbey and Wellington Straight and the Hamilton Straight. Silverstone has a claim to fame. It calls itself the home of British motorsport. Is that factually accurate?
I think so, yeah. Racing started there in 1948, and you know, there was a search across the country. You know, there was lots of abandoned airfields, and there was 2 or 3 different ones that were possibly in the line as well, but Silverstone was chosen. It was central in the UK. People were able to get to it. The access was good, and yeah, it's just been continuous. And then, you know, it was taken over by the British Racing Drivers Club in 1952, and they have literally, and I'm going to do a pun here, driven the circuit forward throughout all these years.
So you've used a pun, let me use one in return. Did that then put Northamptonshire on a podium by having Silverstone in it?
I think so. There was touch and go a little while with Silverstone. I mean, you know, we've had Brands Hatch and we've had Donington, and I think what Silverstone had was the space, and I think also that group of people behind it driving it all the time, bringing their factories and their teams to the circuit and being open to that.
Formula One specifically is seen as being the absolute pinnacle of engineering innovation, and in a whole variety of ways, whether it's new technology, emergent technology, fuel technology, tyre technology, all of those things. But Silverstone is more than just the home of the Formula One Grand Prix. It's a whole industry in its own right from beyond the circuit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, you look at what's happening in the area, you know, was it 7 of the Formula One teams are now in the UK. We've got Cadillac now over the road as well, the newest Formula One team to join the grid. But not just only that, we have Formula E teams in the area. You know, you've got component manufacturers, sports car racing, touring cars, bikes. You've got Ducati UK at Silverstone as well. It's anything with an engine, really, and you know, and it doesn't even have to be a combustion engine. It can be an electric one too.
So this is about cutting edge technology of a certain era. Now, this particular Formula One car, which is in the Kingfisher brand under the Force India name, this is quite literally a museum piece. Why?
I think Formula One has to stay relevant, and it does keep changing the rules. This car was the last one to use the V8 engine, and then it all went into hybrid the following season.
Steph, you're not only head of collections, you sound like you're an engineer who could wield a spanner without too much difficulty. Is that a fair comment?
No. No. Don't let me anywhere near a spanner, please. No, I'm not an engineer.
and yet Formula One, and dare I say it, the whole of motor racing, it was originally a very male-dominated industry. It's perhaps fair to say that it still is male-dominated, but there is a shift going on. Women are now taking on some of the pivotal roles within teams, within engineering. Take yourself, for instance. I mean, you are clearly an enthusiast, but you're a professional as well. That is a march of time for the industry.
We've had ladies successfully race, but the women's role, especially in the 60s, the wives and the girlfriends, they were the timekeepers. They were the ones sat there with the timing charts, and they would be literally timing their husbands or their boyfriends' laps. The female contingent within the Grand Prix team, they were there. They were making the cups of tea, but it's still relevant and it's still important.
This particular car from 2013 is now quite an old car. And yet, if you look at it, if you go to the museum, you can see the path of time for design. Look at the car now. It looks like something out of a Dan Dare comic. It looks like something from science fiction. Having said that, though, if you look at other cars that are in the collection, they are far more advanced in terms of aerodynamics and what we are learning as a species about engineering, about physics, about how we make, in this case, a car go round and round in circles faster than anybody else's. Where is the practical implication of that? How does that touch the general public? Is it through technology or is it simply through sport?
I think you've seen a lot of the safety elements, the crash testing in Formula One cars with the carbon fibre and the tubs, and that has come through into, your road cars, your seat belts, that development as well. There are very subtle ways that this technology has come through.
This really does have a connection to the general public because the sorts of technical advancements, the technical innovations, then do have a place in the real world for ordinary people who may have no interest in motorsport whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just general motorsport in general, not just with Formula One, but with Le Mans car technology, especially when you're sort of looking at touring car technology as well. And that's a road car. That's something that you would recognise. Bike technology, they've been looking at, aerodynamics on motorcycles, how to make motorcycles more safe, like the airbags, crash helmet technology. It's cross-purpose.
All the way through this exhibition, there are objects that unlock the stories of people, of communities. Is there a parallel, in your opinion, for motorsport and what that has brought to communities in Northamptonshire? If we call Silverstone the home of British motorsport, presumably Northamptonshire is the home of the people who make motorsport.
Silverstone Village is a huge part of our history. We recognise that in a small section of the museum with our village pub, where we have all the stories of villagers having met racing drivers and James Hunt opening their village hall. And Silverstone Circuit has employed many local people. It employs many young people. Yes, it's one big weekend of the year. It causes havoc in the county, but it does also bring in lots of other people. We've got the hotel now. There's the go-kart track going live. There are race meetings every weekend of the year as well between February and November, and those people will come into the local area. You
head up the collections team at the Silverstone Museum, which, by way of a small plug, is well worth taking some time over, and I've been there on a number of occasions, and I've seen this car. I did see this car race, but I've also seen this car in situ as a museum piece, as it now is. It's where cars go to rest, shall we say. If you go to the museum, you can learn a lot about the space, you can learn about technology, you can learn about the characters who have built this massive industry, related as it is to the car industry. What does this car say about Northamptonshire, and why should the car be in the exhibition particularly?
I think Northamptonshire should be incredibly proud of being the host of a Formula One Grand Prix. It's a big deal. Countries around the world are fighting for these races, and we've managed to have one, and we're successfully holding them every year. It's a massive event. The first ever Formula One World Championship Grand Prix was in Silverstone. You know, it was in May 1950. The King and Queen came. The bunting was out. It was huge. And I think Northampton should be incredibly proud of where Silverstone has put this county on the map. And people know us because of our motorsport history.
Steph, lovely to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this Histories of Northamptonshire podcast. If you would like to find out more about the objects or listen to other episodes in the series, go to www.northamptonmuseums.com. Alternatively, you can visit the Northampton Museum and Art Gallery, where you can see the A History of Northamptonshire in 100 Objects exhibition for yourself. The Histories of Northamptonshire project is funded by Arts Council England as part of the National Portfolio Programme.